And now that we have enough content to work with, we've created some content, some places, some promotions, let's start to work on the base code in our channel in order to craft how it looks and how we want to present this information. So as you should be familiar with, you just go into the builder, and here in the builder, we want to go down to templates. Now, I'm going to modify a few different templates across the builder here in the views and in snippets, and we're also going to add some custom snippets that I can then incorporate into my style sheet or my JavaScript here. However, to start out, I just want to open up a lot of them and give you some ideas and some context onto how you can modify your own digital channels when you work on your certification. Okay, so with that, let's see. Okay, so now I've opened a few different views and snippets for us to see that we want to change and update. They're going to be pretty basic. Most of you should be familiar with, site bases, headers, footers, that type of thing. But let's just go through some concepts of some things we might want to change. So for example, here I know that I'm in the site base. In Modyo, we actually have two views, site home and then site base. Site home being the first page of any channel and site base being the base for any other page. So if I had certain pages within my channel that I wanted to have in the context of, say, certain classes, I could modify that using liquid markup. So in this content for layout, which I know is the content that any layout is going to use, and in this case, a series of widgets that it would load here in this base. Maybe I want to give a context in terms of classes or something like that. So let me add a div here. And in that div, I'll add a class. And in that class, I'm going to add a little bit of control flow. I'm going to use an if statement. So I'll say if request URL contains, so we'll say private. Private. Okay, so if it contains that, then we're going to say it will be private context will be the name of the class. And then we just close it with an end if. Okay, and we should be good to go. And the last thing we need to do is actually put our content for layout inside the div. Okay, so that would be an example of something that we could do in our site base to help customize things so that we know whenever we're in the private site, we're going to be loading this class. Maybe it gives some sort of extra content look and feel. It could be a variety of different things. Okay, so we have that there. As well, we can modify. This is going to be the places index. Normally, this would just show some basic default information about each one of our places, but we might want to modify this in order for it to show something more robust if we wanted to include more JavaScript, or if we wanted to, maybe in this case, since it's an index that we're going to go to, which is an automatic listing of all the places, we can actually add a custom snippet here and modify it that way. As well, we're going to want to modify this general head to fit our purposes. We can also modify the header. We'll modify the footer. And we can also modify, this is our featured widget, and we can include here at the bottom some extra information in our featured widget because we know that we want to use it on the home page. Yes, and just one more quick reminder here. You'll see that as I'm working here, I'm making some changes. I've got these asterisks next to all of my different views and snippets, different templates that I'm working on. Make sure to always, that means that there are changes that haven't been saved. You can either save each one individually, or you can just click Save All, and it will successfully save all the changes. So just make sure that you do that every so often so that you don't lose any of your work. Okay, and now let's start talking about how we can add some custom snippets.
Okay, and now that we have everything ready in terms of templates, we want to add custom snippets. If you come down here to the bottom, everyone should be familiar with this at this point, but this is where we're going to add some custom snippets. So here I want to say, I want to create a style sheet. Let's say map icons CSS, because I'm actually going to create a map in our places index. And so with that, I have some code ready here. I'm just going to paste it in. And you can see that the CSS format, it's already color coded automatically. This is because we use the underscore CSS at the end. And in this way, I'm going to continue to add a lot of snippets, any snippets that I require for my particular site. I'm actually going to be loading a few different libraries, such as a Vue. I'm going to be using Axios, a few others that you're going to end up using, or we will see us using it in the next module when you learn about how to connect to a microservice. But for now, let's just pass through and know that this is where you can add any of your custom snippets, and I'll talk about how we can incorporate those in just a moment. And so here you can see I've added all of the different JS libraries and all the CSS that I require for this particular channel. Now, something to not forget that you're going to need to do is, for instance, if I take this snippet here, Axios, and I copy it, right? If I go into assets and I go into my JavaScript theme, I can see that I have a list of assets that I'm actually going to load here in the JavaScript theme. Now, keep in mind that in the main views, such as in my site base, I have something that I'm loading here I have the head, I have the header, and the footer. So if I go and look at the head and I scroll down here to the bottom, I can see that I'm loading the style and the JavaScript. So in those assets is where I want to load whatever respective JavaScript and respective CSS that I want to put in. So with the snippet copied, I can just include it here and it will load automatically at the global level, as I will probably need this for more than one widget in this particular channel. So just make sure that you do this for every piece of JavaScript, and again, for any different style sheet libraries that you also would like to use. Okay, now after cleaning this up a little bit and adding all of the different components that I need and including everything here organized, we can go ahead and review and publish. So when we review and publish, we'll see all the different changes here. I basically know what's going on, so I'm just going to go ahead and publish. Okay, all the changes to our templates are going to be made. Okay, was successfully published. Perfect. So now that our templates are all done, let's move on to creating and publishing all the widgets that we need in order to embed them in the layouts for the channel that we want to create.